Alright guys, what is happening? Welcome back to the channel. I really wanted today to be the day where I would put these wheels back on this car and put it on the ground. But the problem is I'm still waiting on a couple of parts, and that is basically the clips that hold all the brake lines and the fuel lines in underneath the car, and some speed bleeders for the front. Because my XR4/Fiesta ST150 calipers are leaking at the bleed nipple, and I'm really hoping that it's just the bleed nipple that is damaged and not the entire caliper. So in order to keep the content coming, I figured today I'm gonna unbox my brand new Chinese turbo, or Wuhan Whistler, and fit it to the car. Let's have a look. So if I turn it up this way, all right, and you can see it is completely unbranded. In fact, if I get where did I put the factory one? Not in there. What did I do with the factory one? Oh, it's way back there. Let's get that one out. Whew. Put them next to each other. There we are. So it's considerably bigger compressor housing than the factory one. But if we look at the rear housing, and if I just put you down a sec, the rear housing, they're fairly similar sizes, and this is important. This turbo is more commonly found on a 4.2 litre turbo diesel Nissan Patrol, but it does have a very small rear housing, like the Escort RS Turbo rear housing. And this is good for the small engine because it helps the turbo spool up quicker, because the rear housing is the bit that makes the turbo spool. And then with the small housing on the rear of this turbo as well, it should still spool pretty fast, but because we have the much bigger front housing, we're going to be able to run more boost, because this is the housing that all the boost comes from. So the way that that works is exhaust gases come in here, spool the turbo up, and then this sucks air in, and this wheel here is connected to the turbine wheel here, and then this wheel compresses all the air and pushes out, because it gets sucked in here, pushes out there. It's going to come out here through my crossover pipe into my throttle body, and then down into my intake manifold. Come back over here. All right, so this is my Chinese turbo. Like I said, specs were on the screen. They are in the description down below, and you can have a look. I'm going to compare it to this one. So specs are on the screen now for the standard RS Turbo Garrett T3, and specs are now also on the screen for my TD05 18G copy high flow turbo. And then here on the screen right there, doink, there's going to be the Garrett turbo numbers. So you can see that this is very similar to the Garrett, and a similar rear housing to the standard turbo with a much bigger compressor housing. So let's fit it. Unfortunately, no turbo noises today in Mandarin, because I'm still very far away from turning the key on this car, but let's fit the turbo. So one stud in the bottom right hand corner, as you can see, helps me locate the gasket and the turbo. The other three are high tensile bolts with washers, a little bit of high temp Loctite to hold everything together nice and secure before I torque it down. Now, I need to clock the turbo because, as you can see, the oil drain feed is at the top, and for obvious gravitational reasons, it does need to be at the bottom. New turbos are really, really straightforward to clock. They usually are held together with a clamp on the exhaust housing or on the actual cartridge there, as you can see mine. So all I did was I undid that, and that enabled me to turn the cartridge round and rotate the turbo. But unfortunately, legends, the problems did not stop there. Ooh, that is where it needs to be. Might have to move the fuel filter, though. Should be okay.
A few moments later.
Great news, as luck would have it, the front housing does rotate, and it's held in with this huge, I call them Jesus clips, because usually if they're really small, and I'll show you it, usually if they're really small and you put them on, they fly off somewhere and you go, ah, Jesus. And you need one of these special tools to remove it. So let's undo this, clock the turbo in the direction that we want it, and then we can sit the front housing where we want the front housing to sit too. All right, sorry about that, guys. I had to move the camera because it's kind of like rested in here, so I had to move that because I was like lent in here doing my hand thing, but that's all in now. Clipped back in place, clocked perfectly. Oil feed, this here is for water. I'm not going to use those. And then the oil drain is on the bottom, so it's on the opposite side here. The last thing left to do, legends, is the wastegate actuator. Let's sit that on. There we go, let's sit there. I appreciate that you guys can't see shit right now, but if you guys also appreciate that I can't really see much. I am learning so much as I do this and as I build this car, because there's not many here in Australia, and I did have one when I was a kid, but I was like 20, 21, and I think I only had it for about 6 months anyway, and I never really did any work on it. It was an MOT failure, which is why I sold it. I bought it, I was like, yeah, this is amazing, RS Turbo. 2 months later, failed its MOT, kept it for a bit, did nothing with it, and then just got rid of it, and then got a Fiesta RS Turbo that died, as they all did, and then got a Renault 5 Turbo. The floor fell out of that. So here I am now building the dream Series 2 that I've always wanted. But yeah, guys, like I said, learning heaps, absolutely heaps, as I go along here. But I think I am gonna have to run a front mount, like a bigger front mount intercooler, with maybe a inlet down here, and then one on the other side, or maybe I can find one that fits, that has the outlet there, and the inlet further down, because that's just too close, really. I may be able to find something. Anyway, guys, battery has literally died on the GoPro, just as I finished recording that, about the different places where I think I'm gonna have to find, you know, like the inlet and outlet of the intercooler. But yeah, peace out. Next video is coming. Hopefully it is putting the car back down on the ground. Something else is probably gonna go wrong. That's building the car. It's gonna be extra special when I eventually get to drive it. Love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Appreciate everything you guys do, all the comments, all the watch time you guys give me. Hopefully you guys are enjoying watching these videos, and hopefully you are learning as well, as much as I am learning as I go along, because you can clearly see that today's video did not go the way I wanted. But anyway, guys, peace out. See you in the next video.